children of God, where do you go when you need help? Who do you ask if you have a question about something? I mean, I suppose it somewhat depends on what the question is about, right? Or what specifically you're needing help with. For instance, if I wanted help knowing how to cook something, well, I might look at a cookbook. I might find a whole bunch of recipes gathered together, and I could find the thing that I'd like to make, and the cookbook will tell me what ingredients I need and how to put them together and how to make whatever it is I'm hoping to make. Well, that's pretty simple. Or maybe I want to know more about a place or a thing. I want to know facts. Well, I could look at a map. I could look for information about where things are and how they go. This happens to tell me more about Hawaii, where I've been on vacation recently, and always want to go again whenever it snows. But anyways, this gives me facts, shows me where things are. I could look at this to learn more. Now, these days, I realize you can also find all this stuff on Google, but sometimes the internet breaks. So that's not always the most reliable thing. Well, what if I need to fix something? Let's say the oven breaks or the toilet or something. Well, you'd probably want to ask your parents. Maybe they would even need to consult a repairman. But sometimes you might try to do it yourself, right? Maybe you have a toolbox, and maybe your toolbox has awesome things that could be used to help you fix stuff. That is, if you know what these tools are and how to use them to help you fix various things. But I don't always know all of those instructions because I go back to Google for that, right? Or maybe I could make a phone call. If I'm not sure of something or if I have a question about something, I could always call. I could call my mom or my dad or a friend or somebody. But what about when all these things fail me? When I don't know how to use the tools? What if whoever I'm calling doesn't answer? Maybe I need help and they're too busy, or they're asleep, or they're out of town, and I can't get a hold of them. What then? See, there's a lot that can disappoint us. There's a lot that we try to get help with, and sometimes we can be challenged. Maybe we try to do things on our own. We don't want help with something, and we wind up messing things up. That'll happen because people can disappoint us. Machines can disappoint us. Even books, believe it or not, can sometimes let us down and disappoint us. But I know one source of help that will always be there and will never, ever disappoint us. You can probably guess who I'm thinking of. That's right, God. See, God will never let us down, and He always wants to help us. There's a wonderful psalm in the Bible that praises this fact about God, that He's always there and that He always helps us. And it says, I can lift up my eyes to the hills, which are beautiful. Mountains are fun, but that's not where my help comes from. I don't get help from just looking at the mountains, as nice as they are. My help comes from God because He made the mountains and everything, including me and you. God is our ever-present source of help. That psalm goes on to say that God does not slumber or sleep. He never sleeps. That means God doesn't need to take a break. He never rests. When we go to sleep, we can rest secure knowing that He's still awake. He's always awake. He's always watching over us and looking out for us. He protects us. The psalm says, at nighttime, He's there with us. In the daytime, He's there with us. We don't need to be afraid or worried. He's always there, covering over us like a huge umbrella. He always protects us. He always guides us. He always helps us and comforts us. Now, of course, we don't see God face to face like we might see a book or a toolbox or a loved one, but we can know that He's there. And we do have His book, His word, the Bible. That's how we know what He says and the instructions that he gives us. This is our recipe book and toolbox and all the rest. Our map, our guide, everything that we need is in here, in his word. It reminds us how much he loves us, that God loves us enough to send his son to die for us, and that he is always, always with us. He promises to guide our hearts and our minds, and he will always be there. We can always go to God for help. He'll never be too busy. He'll never be asleep. He always cares and always wants to hear from us. So no matter what we need help with, I guess you might still have to find a plumber to fix that toilet, but we can go to God with the hurts of our hearts and the hopes and dreams of our hearts as well. I know that he is our protector, but he is our great helper and will never, ever let us down or disappoint us. His book is our guide. Why don't we say a prayer and thank God?